No, let's not play that game.
Yes, yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Village of Biscayne Park Code Compliance Board meeting of Wednesday, August 16th. The time is now 6:07. And if code officer, if you wouldn't mind calling the roll, please.
Roll call. Janie Anderson.
Here.
Dale Blayton. Absent. Rodolfo Barrientos. Judy Hamelberg. Michael Linott, Squire. Absent.
Good evening once again. This is a meeting of the Village of Biscayne Park Code Compliance Board. The board is authorized pursuant to Chapter 14 of the Village's Land Development Code to ensure compliance with the village's Code of Ordinances. The members of the board are citizens and residents of the Village of Biscayne Park. We volunteer our time and are not paid for our services. The purpose of each hearing is to give any alleged violators the opportunity to contest the decision of the code compliance officer, which resulted in the issuance of a notice of violation, and to determine whether a violation of the village's code has occurred or is occurring. We are not authorized to dismiss violations based on hardships, ignorance, or the fact that others may be guilty of the same violation. These hearings are conducted in a quasi-judicial manner. Our responsibility is to act like a judge in a court, and that is to hear cases presented by the village's code compliance officers and to hear contradictory arguments presented by the alleged violators. We are not authorized to change the code. The village commission is solely authorized to enact or revise codes. Conversely, neither the commission nor the village manager have the authority to overrule the findings of the board. Pursuant to Chapter 162 of Florida statutes, orders of the board can only be appealed to the Circuit Court of Miami-Dade County. We have the authority to assess and order the payment of civil penalties, to issue orders having the force of law, to command whatever steps are necessary to bring a violation into compliance, and to assess administrative costs. In order to make a finding upholding the code compliance officer's decision, we must find that there is substantial, competent evidence that the named violator was responsible for a violation of the relevant section of the code as charged. All documentary evidence presented by the parties must be submitted for placement in the hearing file. No documentary evidence will be considered unless the alleged violator or code compliance officer submits a copy for the hearing file. Each party shall have the right to call and examine witnesses, to introduce exhibits, to cross-examine opposing witnesses on any matter relevant to the issues, even though that matter was not covered in the direct examination. To impeach any witness regardless of which party first called them to testify, and to rebut the evidence against them. If you intend to address the board and haven't signed in, please do so at this time. Now, anyone wishing to address the board, please stand. Raise your right hand so that you may be sworn in. You are reminded that this board is a quasi-judicial board, and giving false testimony can be penalized. Thank you, everyone. Do we have any additions, deletions, or withdrawals to the agenda? No?
None.
I'm sorry. Please. Everyone, this is our new village manager. He's just started yesterday, Mr. Chris Truitt.
I just wanted to stop in tonight. I know you're taking time out of your busy days to participate in the process and from the office. And the board service that you are. And then but feel free to read other questions. As the chair said, the office.
Thank you so much, and thanks for coming in. Has everyone had the chance to read the minutes? Any changes to the minutes? Yes, there is one. Item I. It's me. Item 6I, 11605 Northeast 11th Place. That was definitely not a 4-0 because I was the one.
Oh, it wasn't a 4-0. 3 was, you said no to that.
Item I,
3.
I was the dissenting. So it's definitely a Believe me, I remember that one. So other than that, if no one has any other changes, we could approve it just with that one change. So we're good? Motion to approve with the one change just mentioned, the June 21st minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, passes 3-0. Okay. Ready to present your first case?
First case, 8A,
Okay,
that's 931 Northeast 107th Street, case number CEN-23-78. Ilya Karilulu and Henrietta Andreyevna Kova. Violation is 19.1.3, license required. Status is non-compliance. On March 20th, 2023, the property owner renting a property on short-term basis without first obtaining a license from the Village of Biscayne Park. A license has been applied for, but fine of $1,000 remain unpaid as of the compliance date.
Actually, the license was issued. The license has been issued, so it's partial compliance. They haven't paid their $1,000 fine.
and it's still not.
Still
paid as of
outstanding.
Today?
That's correct.
Okay. Questions from the board? With your name and address and your relationship to the property. I need you to pull the microphone up, sir, because aside from it being difficult to hear, it's also recorded. And if you have to take it out of the stand, so much the better.
Test. Okay, so my name is Ilya and I'm the property owner of the property address 931 Northeast 107th Street. It's just really not much to say. It was the negligence on my side, so I don't have any evidence to prove that the violation has been issued and in the wrong manner. It was absolutely the correct manner to do. Unfortunately, I was kind of preoccupied with family matters at the moment, which has been finalized not a long time ago. And as soon as I got the violation from Biscayne Park in regards of short-term rental violation, that I mean had to move forward, obviously, and to take care of this violation. And all this licenses and inspections has been passed at the first shot. So to save, I guess, your time and mine. Unfortunately, I mean, for two things, probably I would love to ask the board if it's possible, since it's a first time offense, and as I said, my personal family matters, it's don't really matter to you, but do matter to me. So I will accept the negligence, and I would love to ask for possible leniency from the board on the first time violation of this matter. And it's just, as you mentioned in the very beginning, that the hardship doesn't really matter. And I will take, I mean, also, and I would mention that if I wouldn't be in the financial situation as of today, probably would just pay $1,000 and would forget about it. But either I will ask for leniency or anything the board would be able to offer, I would gladly accept that.
Sir, if I go through the file
Yeah.
for this case, you were first notified
Mm.
of our new requirement with a courtesy notice, December 11th of last year. The notice of violation was 3 months later, so you had
Mhm.
3 months to have spoken to the code officers, to have worked something out. Still nothing. The notice of violation in March, you still had not applied for the license. Now you finally applied for it. But I'm sorry, sir, the 1,000 is very clear. It took you a total of apparently almost 5 months and multiple notices to finally apply for the license. I would not be comfortable relieving the fine. I personally believe the fine needs to stand. My fellow board members.
Unfortunately, the code doesn't allow for personal issues. The fines are the fines, and unless it's not a properly issued fine, we don't have much choice on that.
Well, yeah, I feel the same way. I don't know if he could ask for a fine to pay or something on the sort,
That's what I was just
something like
looking
that.
at. Let me get my calendar. Okay. How would you feel about giving him until September 1st to pay the fine? If it's not paid by September 1st, the village to go into the lien process.
I agree.
You okay, Rodolfo?
Me too, me too.
I ask the code officers. I would appreciate your input if you have. Yeah.
Partially complied.
Okay.
They have applied for the licenses. Licenses have been issued.
We will extend until September 1st. If you pay the $1,000 fine by September 1st, your case will be closed. If it's not paid by September 1st, the village will be authorized to start the intent to lien process. Okay. All right, my motion would be to give, I'm sorry, in case number CEN 23-78, a violation has occurred. Give the property owner until September 1st to pay the $1,000 fine. If not paid by then, the village to institute the intent to lien process.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0.
Yes. Ilya,
Yeah.
you could state, you have 2 more cases.
Our next case, 8C. That's 921 Northeast 107th Street. Case number CEN-23-80. Ilya Karililu. Violation 19.1.3, license required. On March 20th, property owner was renting a property on a short-term basis without first obtaining a license permit from the Village of Biscayne Park. The license has been applied for, has been issued, and the fine of $1,000 remains unpaid as of the compliance date.
Oh, sir, unless you had something else to add, I would say my motion would be the same. It has not been paid as of today, correct?
That is correct.
My motion would be the same. Give the property owner until 9/1, if not, the intent to lien. Okay. All right, and Sarah, I'm sorry, anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah. Mm.
So in case number CEN 23-80, a violation has occurred. Give the property owner until September 1 to pay his $1,000 fine. If not, the lien process will be, the intent to lien process will be instituted.
Second.
Second.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Judy was second.
Is here. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
Sorry to interrupt, Madam Chair. We just wanted to acknowledge that The Vice Chair Dale Blanton arrived at 6:22 PM.
Give me, I thought it was at 6:30.
That's what we were afraid. Yeah.
Our next case, 8D. That's 933 Northeast 107th Street. Case number CEN 23 -81. Ilya Karilu and Henrietta Andrekova. Violation 19.1.3, license required. On March 10th, property owner was renting property on a short-term basis without first obtaining a license permit from the Village of Biscayne Park. A license has been issued, but the fine of $1,000 remains unpaid as of the compliance date.
If I could take, with everyone's indulgence, just a second to bring our Vice Chair Dale up to speed. This is the third property we've heard from this gentleman. The first two, we gave him until September 1st to pay the $1,000 fine. He has already applied for and or obtained his licenses. We gave him until September 1st to pay the fine, if not the intent to lien process. So this will be the third of the same violation.
Very good. Yeah, I read over the documentation and you're on a good track.
Any more comments, sir? Any comments? If there's anything else you'd like to say. Then my motion would be the same as it's been. In CEN 23-81, a violation has occurred. Give the property owner until September 1st to come into compliance by paying the $1,000 fine. If not, the village to institute the intent to lien process.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, Ilya. We'll send you an order in the mail.
Our next case, 8B, 835 Northeast 120th Street. Case number CEN -23-110. 800 Home Realty LLC. Violation 16.3.1, building permit required. On May 6, 2023, interior construction / renovation without first obtaining required building permits. The status as permits has been applied for.
And from the code department, we're asking for an administrative fee of $500 to be assessed on this particular case, just because of the size of the project that was going on when we inspected the property. The whole house was gutted. They were renovating the entire house. Large project, no permits at the time of our inspection.
Notice of violation, I see written on the April 6th. Permits weren't applied for until June.
Right. That's correct.
This was issued as an immediate stop, but yet the permits weren't applied for till June.
Permits were issued July 25. The permits were issued July 25.
Comments?
I agree with this, yeah, with the comment there. I agree with it, says that $500 administrative, charges, fine. I'm good with that.
And I believe there are double permit fees for the permits.
Yeah,
Yes, they paid double permit fees.
Definitely. Do they have all permits at this point? They've all been issued as of July.
That's correct.
Sir, please, if you would identify yourself and your name, address, and relationship to the property.
Hi, good afternoon. Daniel Puello I'm one of the owners of the property at 835 Northeast 120th.
Anything you'd like to say to contribute?
We had a bad run-in with the builder initially, and he's no longer with us. We learned the hard way, so kind of had to take matters into our own hands, and they were very nice to the city when we came in and instructed us on how to get everything, and I think we're on our way now, so. I'm okay with the fine. I'm not asking for, I understand what happened and, you know,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Comments? On the board? Who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and assess the fine of $500 in administrative fees. Fine. That's what,
What about the basic
Violation fine.
fine? Violation fine. The administrative
Okay.
costs are separate from
okay.
basic violation.
Confirming that the violation did occur. There's a,
Alright.
there's a fine with that.
I'll let you go ahead and do it then. I'm new at this.
So would you take a friendly amendment to your motion
I would.
that we, in case CEN 23-110, a violation has occurred, assess a $250 fine, that's for the violation. The additional $500 fine to cover the extensive administrative costs.
Yes.
I'll
You,
second.
yeah.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. So
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
make it, yeah, let me repeat it. $250 for the violation fine. $500 for the administrative costs.
Who seconded the motion?
Judy's motion was.
It's Judy.
Judy. Oh, okay. Judy and Jane.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
thank you.
Let the record show, Board Member Michael Lanat is here at 6:30.
6:30.
Our next case, 8F 11728 Northeast Sixth Avenue. Case number CEN 23-68. Laura Pantano. Violation, chapter 19.1.3, license required. March 14, property owner was renting property on a short-term basis without first obtaining a license. Correction, advertising from the village of Biscayne Park.
And just a clarification, that case is for the property located at 590 Northeast 118th Street. We use the same address because it only has one folio number, but it's two separate properties.
Has she even applied for the permit?
For the record, yes, they have applied for permits, but they are pending approval.
We should stop for that.
Yes,
What we're dealing with essentially is the $1,000.
it's just the fines.
Yes. So I actually live in the main house. The lot is a double lot and there is a property on my right. And then there is my main house, which is where I live. So the only house that I was actually renting is the other one, the guest house, call it that way. So she found an advertising, which was when I originally purchased the home. And I didn't know what I was going to do because I was actually in another property that was in the process of selling. I thought I would rent both properties on Airbnb or VRBO. Turns out that I was able to sell fast my other house and I moved in the property immediately with my family where I still currently live. So the only property I'm renting is the other one, the cottage, basically. What I ended up doing is applying for licenses for both properties because I'm looking to make another purchase. I'm a realtor, so all I do is purchase property, put pool or improve them. Sometimes I flip them, sometimes I keep them, or I put long-term tenants, whatever. So I applied now for both my properties, even though I'm still living in one of them, but because of, the tedious work.
Apologize,
Sure.
I'm going to interrupt you half a
Mhm.
second. Would it be better if we worked on both at the same time, F and G?
Absolutely.
If you would, take out A and G, because this young lady is the property owner for both.
Sure.
Am I correct?
Yes,
And it's kind of intertwined, so rather than
Right.
having her have to repeat herself. and
sure.
Go through it, let's just deal with them both.
Okay, so is G the cottage?
E and
Is the
F
main
and
house.
G. And it's an odd situation, as was been explained. There's one folio.
One folio number, two houses on the property. G is the main house and the Mango House is, what was that?
No, it says Mango House Private Cottage for two is is
Right.
G.
Oh,
Oh, is that G?
I don't know.
So
I don't know which one is
Oh,
G.
yeah, I'm
but
sorry.
That's the one I'm renting, the cottage.
That's your main house.
No, no, no. My house is the villa. But you don't really have it because I don't rent it. So you found something that was blocked with the calendars, but you found something that's a villa Spanish or something
Right,
like
right,
that.
yes.
That would be the main house, but I don't rent it because I haven't rented it.
So that's in the Sixth Avenue house? is the
Right.
main
I
house?
stay on the Sixth Avenue house and I've been staying there.
But either way, they're both being rented.
No,
Correct.
No, they
I live in one of them.
He lives in one of them, but at
But
the
you-
time.
But you
violations,
advertise.
They were both.
I
both
don't
advertised.
advertise it. She found an advertising which had all the calendars blocked. I didn't know how to remove it from VRBO, so I thought if I just block it, it's not rentable because I moved it in the house.
So one is
So the one that I'm really renting is the cottage, is the 590 Northeast 118th Street.
But you've applied for licenses for both?
I have applied for both because I spoke to her because why doing all of this work? I plan on moving. I don't know if it's in September, in November. I'm on the market to buy another property. So why doing this another time while I have to take time? You know what I mean?
Fine.
It doesn't matter if I'm spending the money while I'm not really renting it. It's just a time, a time matter for me.
And is your testimony that you've never rented the 100?
I haven't rented the house where I live. No, I
But it-
rented the other
it
property.
actually on the Mango House one bedroom, it says that there's been 6 reviews and on the Mango House Private Cottage for two, you had 14 reviews.
That is still the same building. The same building. I've applied for 3 licenses. The building is a 2-story building and has like an indoor downstairs and an upstairs. It's one property that has.
Oh, so you
two-
can rent the downstairs or
Yes,
the upstairs or
upstairs.
both?
Right. That's the 590 Northeast.
I gotcha.
So that's one, but the one on 11728 Northeast, I've been living there. My nanny, my dog, my cat, that's the upstairs.
Looking at a listing, when was this? March 14th.
Right, and, we issued these violations in March and there's, a review from February, like the month
Mhm.
before. So
Yeah. That is the same. I don't live in that house.
violations were based on these
The
advertisements.
violations occurred.
No, I'm not disagreeing with 590 Northeast 118th Street.
She's
which
just saying
is-
on the other one that she put it out there because she was gonna, but then she decided not to and she couldn't
Right.
take it off. So she just blocked out all the. dates.
Correct. And I haven't rented
And
it.
that's where you live because that's where your homestead is,
Correct.
I guess. right?
Yes.
According to that. So.
So I do agree that I
Huh? Oh,
I
thought
have
that
been
was-
renting without the license, the 590 Northeast. And now explained, well, not now, a while ago, we called and we spoke face to face. I went there, I spoke to Rafael several times.
And the Sixth Avenue is being rented.
No, I live
Lives
there.
there.
Not rented.
Correct, but
But has it
I-
ever been rented?
no, it hasn't. I've been living there. It has not been rented on a short-term basis. that property.
Advertised.
It was advertised.
I have not
but she
rented.
didn't
that
rent it
property.
out. according to-
But it was posted for.
I had, when I purchased the property, I had a,
I just want to
yeah.
get it clear. It was posted
right,
with the intent to rent.
but didn't because so I had a 6-month tenant in there. I bought the property in December, right? And I had a 6-month tenant in there until June.
That was in the,
N-
that was in the Fifth Avenue.
No, the 11728. Yes,
Main house.
I'm talking about the main house, the main.
that is the main house.
Right, the Sixth Avenue.
Yes,
117th Street. Yes, there was a tenant there.
on 118th Street, yes. Correct. I've had renters there daily basis in and out.
Bought the house, there was a tenant there.
When I bought the house, there was a tenant there? No, when I bought the house, it was empty, but I did Airbnb. I bought the house
Okay.
empty.
Good place and add to rent the place out. The main house, just place it out. You place an ad, you rent out the guest house, the apartment, garage apartment. Also, one was rented, the other one had the intent to rent, but you're saying you didn't rent it out.
No, I didn't rent it out.
It's there to rent it out.
No, the intent was there to get, when I first bought it, which was December, you can see on my folio, I was trying to see if I would get the attention of Airbnb or longer term. I ended up renting longer term, blocked out the calendars. I had a tenant until June, until June 1st. We started the pool, the tenants left, I moved in. You can see that I have pool permits. The pool was completed September last year. I moved in because the tenants, of course, moved out. They didn't want to have the pool construction, so I moved in.
Just seeing where it says listing was there until was removed on March 17th. And it says one documented stay. And I'm just looking at the one for 11728 Northeast Sixth Avenue. So one documented stay and it was removed in March 17th. I'm just trying to get clarity.
Right.
It's a little confusing,
Yes.
posting
Yeah.
something and then not that, if it's like, no, I'm gonna move in, I don't know.
But what you're saying is that you already you had somebody renting there anyway for that whole time for the
Mhm.
6 month when you
Yeah.
bought the place. That's what I mean, are they under oath? I mean, is there?
No, I have the lease agreement. I can
Yeah, okay,
provide
So,
contact of the
okay.
tenant, her family, her baby. She was a Miami Shore resident. She lived there 6 months because she was under
So bottom
construction.
line is that you're getting hit for two fines, the main house and the guest house. You're saying it really should just be the guest house,
Right.
not the main house, because that main
Correct.
house rented and then I'm there
Right.
now.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was what even Doreen had actually offered that prior to this meeting. So that's, I don't have a problem, whatever you guys want. I'm just saying, the real situation is I'm still there. You guys can come anytime. I'm there with my dog, my 3 kids and whatever. So,
Yes, after she explained to me that she lives in this house, I had told her that I don't have the power to remove a fine
sure,
on a case. You would have to go and explain yourself to the board.
right.
Again, only because we're.
The violation did occur because the property was advertised. I think the most confusing part with the
Is the two
vacation
addresses.
rental ordinance is advertising is a violation.
Exactly.
Renting the property is a different violation. So what I issued the violation for was advertising the rent short term. So whether there was someone in the house, there was no tenant,
Again, we're talking about.
it has nothing to do with this violation. There was an advertisement online for the property and that's a violation.
So the other part that was confusing, which it took me a while to understand was or anyways, what the paperwork I received was that when I first was posted the violation on the main house where I live, the address was 590 Northeast, which made sense. So I had started communication with Doreen to how I would find, but then I realized there were $2,000 fees. I was like, what do you mean 2,000? I live here. And I was like, but why did you put this address and not the other address if you were charging me for both? because it's two addresses, you know, when I pay for my water bill and I have to have the account, I have to do it separately. My FPL, I have two separate accounts. Everything is separate. So I wasn't quite sure for a while.
So
But
it
she was also tagging the other house where I was
Right.
living.
So it was two advertisements. The pictures are different.
Yeah.
Different account numbers on Airbnb.
Right.
So I had to treat each as a different violation.
Yeah, but at
that
first
reason.
you couldn't because you put the 590, the first violation was.
The
on the-
reason for
yeah,
that is you only have one folio number. We go
Right,
with the
right, right.
legal description. It's
Mhm.
after the fact that I realized that.
No, because I
was-
mentioned that. No, but we had this conversation. We are very amicable. There was never
Oh,
an
absolutely.
argument. It's just to clarify, it was confusing from my part too, because I just received a letter with with one address, not the other one. And the two fines for that one, but then I realized she was tagging me for,
In the
so.
interest of kind of reining it back in. Let's deal with, are we calling Sixth Avenue the main house?
Right, yes,
And you're saying it was advertised, but at no point is that used as a short-term rental.
no, no.
Looking for input from our code officer.
Well, I have the pictures
Advertising.
for the
thing, I have a problem
advertisement of the main house.
Right.
It's
Right, but I think what her testimony was that she advertised for that, but I understand that, but was this your first property in Biscayne Park?
Yes.
So you just got here in December and,
Mhm.
and you're a realtor, so you've had other places where you Airbnb and things of that nature?
In Miami Beach,
In Miami Beach, but you
Yes.
had experience with that before, right?
yes.
Okay, so now now you're in Biscayne Park and she's a realtor. Is it, she's just, doing the next thing, she's at the next deal. This is what she does. She advertises it. She's got a rental in there and she's there for 5 months. I mean, I understand the confusion. And her testimony is that she, the intent there was to take it down and she blocked all the dates. So yeah, there is a technical violation, but I think she did what she could do at that time, which was to block all the dates to basically effectively not advertise it, even though the pictures were there.
It's a violation.
Well, okay, but it's a,
I believe Miami Beach also has permits. So,
BTRs.
yeah, if
BTRs.
there's permits in one jurisdiction, there's probably going to be permits in most
Take
jurisdictions.
a look at the.
So
packet we
you
got.
usually start with, like, for me, at least in single family homes, I never did Airbnb. So I'm not sure each location, what are the steps? In fact, your communication arrived months after I purchased. So it wasn't something that you guys perhaps were actively communicating to your residents, the procedure on how, while Miami Beach is super, super
Just to
heavy on
remind you,
fines, you know?
Courtesy notice in December. So,
but she wasn't here because she was being rented.
Yeah,
but
Did you receive a courtesy notice?
no.
Okay,
there were courtesy notices, there were letters went out, it was.
I received the first notification, I think must have been a couple of months after I purchased. Probably, it wasn't right away. And I remember even when I purchased, I had the intention to, have it as investment property because the home is very small for my family size. So I spoke to someone making phone calls because the previous seller was living there. So she had no information regarding how to rent it short term. But they told me that it was available, that it was, allowed by the city, and that sooner or later you guys were going to have a procedure on how to apply to, that was it. That's all I got from the office.
This point, be ready for a motion? On one at a time.
I'm sorry, you guys, it's confusing for me too. I'm happy to do whatever. I'm a happy resident, so, but
EM 23-68.
Hmm?
Is that the property in the cottage?
No, that's the main house.
Yeah, I just got the patient.
No.
No, I read all that.
That's the main house.
I mean, I think we're dealing with two different properties here and we're dealing with the main house in this particular one. I mean, I think the testimony that she's had is that she advertised it. She's a real estate agent. She came here. She had a long-term or a 5 or 6 month resident there. It didn't get, the testimony is that it was never Airbnb'd out. Yes, she advertised it, but she also had an intent to remove it. I think
Yeah.
that she's testified to my satisfaction by blocking all the dates. So she did what she could at the time in order to alert the public that she wasn't advertising it. And, she's new to the park, and she's already had a conversation with Doreen where they talked this out, and she said that she would support that as our code officer. And for those reasons, I'd like to make a motion to, to dismiss the violation for the main house.
Thank you.
Michael, saying that, okay, she was doing it and then she stopped. It's kind of like saying someone started their work without a permit. And then when they got called out on it, okay, they stopped. There's still a violation.
Yeah, but but I think that we also, live in a community where, we are neighbors, and the purpose of our board is to make sure that we all know what the rules are and what the ordinances are, without a punitive effect of, where an excuse where she's, I think, came in here and is under oath and said the things that she said, had the conversations with our officer who said that she supports it. I mean, what is the reason for, what we're doing here? And for my purpose, I think she's satisfied sufficiently to support my motion.
Well, I may have misunderstood something. I don't recollect the officer saying that they support missing. What I did hear was just the fact that she's going by the listing, and I was looking at the listing, as well as the testimony stating that I had a tenant that we had a 6-month lease or was there for 6 months. I don't know why I would be posting a listing with a tenant in the house that I know is going to be there when I list it. And there was one documented stay in February. One documented stay, it wasn't blocked, it was removed until March the 17th.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can go by is what the testimony of the resident is. And her testimony is that she didn't. That's, I don't know what the support is for that, but, it is a document. But, we can't cross-examine the document. I can cross-examine her, and she said that, what she said, and it's in conflict with that.
As a matter of fact, I've had some fees with VRBO because I had to cancel reservations because I didn't know how I thought that the listing was down. So instead they would come and book, and I would be like, I'm living here, or I have the tenant, I need to cancel. And they would charge me, block the dates. Looks like it's a rental. They just block the dates and charge me, I don't know, $200 fee. And then at that point, I'm like, just help me with the person on the phone, remove everything, block.
Reminder that the visual document that comes from our code officers is also part of what we're. So anyway,
Well, yeah, and also just lastly on that, with the packet was the courtesy notice.
Yeah.
That was provided in December of 2022, which the resident has said that she did not receive. And by virtue of the testimony, as I, look at it in its totality, is that she said she purchased in December and it was already rented at that time. So if it was placed on the door and you're not living there
No, I
in
didn't live
December,
there.
then she wouldn't have received it. And that's where her testimony is.
I agree, and going by the resident's own testimony also, she said that there was a resident there, a tenant there, that yet it was advertised for rent, for rental.
it's
I
still
don't
there.
know who to go by,
for several months.
so,
But she's also a realtor.
exactly, she's also the realtor.
So how do you find a tenant? You have to advertise.
This
You-
is not a tenant.
Right.
This is an overnight stay.
You know how many ways of advertising long-term stay there are? A lot of them are through websites that cater to people that are looking to stay a month or 3 months, or they will inquire and they will stay 6 months. It's not just the
I
MLS.
think we've kind of exhausted
Right.
everything at this point. We do need a motion.
Thought that I made one. Oh.
But the motion's still on though.
Mhm.
You guys-
Well, the motion was based upon the testimony of the resident under oath that I would move to, at least on the main house, to dismiss the violation.
Give the case number, please. So that's. all.
8F, which is, is it,
House is G.
Main house is G.
oh, G, 8G, I mean, it's, do I got to give another number? CEN 23-69, Antano.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Rigo?
Yes, I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Opposed? No.
Motion fails 2-3.
So the motion has failed. Does that mean the fine still stands?
Yes. Motion on a motion on the second motion then.
Yes, please.
I'll make the motion that fine for from case number CEN -23-69, that the violation did occur, an administrative fine of 1,000 is paid by September
First.
No, there needs to be paid by September 1st. Or-
the first.
The village institutes the lien process.
Proceed with the lien process.
I'll second that.
Second, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey,
Aye.
I just want to clarify this.
Motion passes 5-0.
For clarity, is that for the main house?
The main house for Sixth
369.
Avenue, 23-69.
Thank you.
Okay, now
Thank you.
to,
So there's another for the 590?
Yes.
we have the other one. We have. Bear with me, we.
CN,
CN 23-68, item 8F.
I have a motion.
Make a motion to find, that a violation occurred. That, direct the village to, that the resident has until September 1st to pay the $1,000, or if not, on September 2nd, request that the village, proceed with following it.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, all good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Montano.
Our next case, 7A, 735 Northeast 111th Street. Case number EEN 21-0527, Jeffrey M. Gruen, Marisha A. Rosero. Violation 16.3.1. Building permits required. Double fee permits.
Not quite sure what we're being asked to determine validity of violation fine.
That's correct. Description on,
This violation was issued April 2021 for interior remodel.
Yes.
There was no permit in the system at the time. So the violation was valid. Now, this case came to the board June 14, 2021. There's an order of enforcement with a violation fine of $400. And if they were not to come into compliance by the 12th of July, that a $50 per day for each day of non-compliance was imposed. Now, they got their permit in time. In fact, the permit was issued, and after the fact permit was issued on July the 12th. They paid double fines, which was $6,000 and $724. The original, 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 would have been $3,160, but they paid over $6,000. Now, they were either not aware that there was this 400 violation fine assessed, or I'm not sure what happened there, because when the appeal was made, your brother came in and made the appeal. He was like, we paid the double fines. We don't know, we were not aware that we owed any other fines. But this, to me, going through this case and looking at everything, the $400 was assessed by the board. And it should be valid. I'm not sure what he has to say.
Wait, Dorian, so you said when you went through the file, what did you see?
When I went through the file, I looked at all the documents just to make sure that we didn't make a mistake, because we are known for that. I believe that this $400 is valid.
And I have the minutes on that meeting.
Well, you know, double permit fees are double permit fees, but that does not, that's entirely separate from the fine of doing work without a penalty. They're entirely separate things.
So what did you see as far as that convinced you that it was valid in terms of like,
There's an order of enforcement.
right, but with regard to the information that he would have received
The information, when you say. information-
about the 400 or whatever it
Not the
was?
400, there's an order of enforcement that was issued by the board. That is a violation fine of $400. There was gonna be a $50 daily fine, but they did comply on the date, meaning they did get the permit and paid their double fine. So they did comply with the building side. So they still owe the $400, which was assessed by this board.
So
When David came in, his brother, it sounded like they were not aware that this 400 was outstanding or what it was for.
go ahead.
Would your
Hey.
name and your
Yeah,
address be
I'm,
sufficient for the-
Jeffrey Gruen. I'm one of the owners of the property. And 735 Northeast 111th Street.
Were you at the that meeting where this fine was in?
No, I
was-
was not. So what the construction was, so we had applied for a permit and we had been approved to start the permit process. I believe you, in this village, you apply to start and then you actually have to get the permit approved. Right, with I know that we went to a meeting before this April meeting in order to get the project approved.
The planning and zoning board or something?
The planning and zoning board, yes. And so they said that we could carry forward, but of course, then you have to get your permits approved. We did have an issue because there were no plans from the city. And the house at the time was 25 feet wide, which means that there should not be any load-bearing walls. But we did have a load-bearing wall in the middle. And it was very confusing whether or not we would need to get a beam in the plans. And I believe we'd already applied for the permits. This was 2.5 years ago, and we were also planning our wedding at the same time while trying to build a house. So if I'm not factual, that is purely lack of recollection as opposed to malice here. And so they were knocking down the wall in order to look at the beam and supporting the roof to see if that would be needed. And it turns out that it was, and it ruined everything. But that is what happened. We were not living at the residence. No one was living at the residence. Once that notice got put up, all construction workers stopped going. We never went to the we never went to the property because this was during height of pandemic. And so if there was anything posted at the building, we didn't see it. We didn't go to the meeting in June. Yeah.
With all due respect, that's the problem. When work gets started before construction, before permitting, that's a problem. That's a violation. And, you know, it's easy to say you didn't know, but if things are posted properly and sent to the house, there was responsibility of you as the owner to stay on top of your property. And certainly in construction,
Yeah.
without your permits in place, it led to some bad stuff. thankfully didn't, but.
Yes, so my GC is the one who went to all of the meetings here, and he said the fines are taken care of because he paid the building fines. I know that the permitting process took a long time. It was several months. And during that time, this is what happened. I think we had to amend the permitting process several times since then. So yeah, you can see how we would want to know if we needed a beam or not. As no one was living there, we had to know, right?
So you're saying you weren't doing construction, you were just trying to access the area to find whether you needed a beam or not? That's what was going on?
Yes, so the center wall was taken out with supports for the beginning of the kitchen.
So that's demolition. I mean, I had to get a demolition permit when Hurricane Wilma knocked the walls and things down just to clean up the mess that the hurricane didn't totally do. I needed a demolition permit.
You paid a double fine, right?
Yes.
So you went
You paid double permitting
double
fees.
permit, right? Because you jumped the gun. So instead of 3,000, you paid 6,000, right? Is that what happened?
Yes.
I mean, that's,
That 6,000 is not fully the double permit fee. There are other incidentals involved. The double permit fee itself is 3,160.
right. So 3,160 that they had to pay for jumping the gun for doing the stuff that is represented in those pictures. And then there was like some straggling fee for what? For $400?
There is fine for a violation besides the double permit fee the city collects.
And that was, now, so you were relying upon what, your contractor to say that everything was taken care of?
Well, yes, as far as the double permitting, that's what we thought all the fees were. But no one was allowed to go to the property. Once the work stopped,
Stop order.
once the stop order came, no one went to the property, so there would be no way of knowing or contesting any fee or
But
knowing.
during that period of time, somebody had to have gone to do something, particularly because you ended up finally applying for the permits. So again, we have an order of enforcement. We have a violation that occurred.
But let me ask you a question. So you said that you had to amend the building plans several times, right?
Yes,
So does that mean that you had to come to the village several times to go through the process of doing that thing?
my GC always came, yeah.
And was there any communication by, by your GC to you that there was this outstanding fee from way back when?
No, the first we heard about it was when we got the notice of delinquency.
It always falls back on the owner for responsibility. And believe me, people have had issues with GCs, but it still falls back on the owner. We're the ones who have to stay on top.
Michael, this was already, heard and ruled on
Right.
at the time. You know, nothing. a stop
Nothing's
work-
changed, right.
A stop work would prohibit, the owner of the property to go onto their property.
Yeah,
This
they just can't work.
So, you know, I understand and I sympathize because it was a large amount to pay, but it's part of
Mhm.
having residents abide by our codes and ordinances is to have these fines. Otherwise, one may look and go, well, start to work, I may have to pay a double permit fee.
I'll take my
but-
chances, yeah.
I'll take my chances. Maybe I'll get away with it. Maybe I won't.
I mean, if you're looking about that way, you got 3,000 plus that he paid versus this 400. I mean, if you're really going to be trying to, game the system, you'd be looking at trying to get rid of that big fine,
I
not
would
the
think so.
400.
If we start eliminating fines after something's been heard, after it's been appropriately adjudicated, then we become meaningless. I mean, we've got to follow our rules and we've got to be consistent, just like we expect every one of us as homeowners to follow our ordinances. So I'm ready for a motion.
So can I just say
I'm
my
sorry,
my
Mr.
wife
President,
has
I apologize. I should have asked you first.
my wife has a immune disease, and this was during the height of pandemic. we were not leaving the condo unless we absolutely had to. So if no workers are allowed and we ourselves didn't go anywhere, especially when we're preparing for a wedding and we don't want to get sick before that, there's no way of us knowing that we needed to be here.
I understand. Workers could have gone by, they couldn't do any work. Didn't prohibit anybody from going onto your property. Just, they couldn't work.
Yeah, your property wasn't condemned. You could go there. They could go there.
I'm ready to make.
Can I add something more? So, looking at the pictures, this was a very extensive work and dangerous. And if they overlook to get a permit on this, I wonder what else would they overlook? Because this is not safe at all. And I'm talking about, over 40 years in construction, I know this is not good. And that's probably why it took so long to get the permit, because you have to have engineering involved to determine if there was any structural compromise in there.
We're ready for a motion, please?
Yes.
Motion in case number EN 21-0528, to reaffirm the, fine of $400 in an order of enforcement dated June 21st, 2020.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Was that a no?
That's a no.
Motion?
No, aye on the no.
I knew what you meant, but you have to say it the right way. So I have a motion passing 4-1.
Dale, can you repeat the case number one more time?
Mr. Byrne. Sorry.
1-0527.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I thought I had it wrong.
Our next case, 7B, 826 Northeast 121st Street, case number EEN 18-0764. Jan Roots and wife Denise. Violation section 8.4.4, prohibited animals. Description beehive, life and safety violation.
So this case has appeared before the board several times. This is the case that was issued wrongly with a wrong document, with an administrative citation instead of a notice of violation. So we had to consult the village attorney, and in an email, which I believe is attached, the village attorney advised for a motion to dismiss this case.
I think it comes as no surprise to any of us, the citation was gonna have to go.
Sure.
I mean, there's an ordinance that backs that up. Can only be those items. So, all right, let's just take that and then we'll go to my next question, because my big concern was the remuneration for the bees, but I'll get to that in a second. Would anybody like to make the motion?
Make a motion in case number EN 18-0764. Motion to dismiss.
I'll
based
second.
on the advice of-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who seconded? I heard two. Janie?
Janie can do it.
Bear with me a second. Now, my question. Has the lien been filed for the monies involving the bees?
Yes, it has.
Okay, we'll get to that in discussion. Okay. Anything else?
That case, nothing.
Our next case, 7C, that's 930 Northeast 108th Street, case number EEN 18-1432. Valley Homes LLC. Violation 16.3.1, building permits required, double permit fees. 11/29/20 2018 swimming pool installed without first obtaining permits. And we have outstanding fines of $750. We're bringing this case to the board to remove all fines as a new owner was provided with a lien search showing no encumbrances on the property.
What can you
So
say?
here's another mistake on the part of the
What can you say?
village.
No?
Property was sold. Before the property was sold, there was a lien search done and the lien search showed no encumbrances on the property. However, we found a $750 fine still outstanding on one of the cases. Now, we couldn't go after the current owner for this fine because they were given a lien search that was clean.
So we didn't
Well, I'm not-
file the
We're
lien.
asking that, I'm sorry?
So the city never filed the lien.
No, they never filed a lien. This is an old case.
It's clean, completely clean.
Okay.
It's from 2018. And we're asking the board to dismiss this case and remove the fine.
I'll make a motion to dismiss, and remove the fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
0. Next.
Next case, 7D, 11925, Northeast 11 Court. Case number EEN 22-0223. Kelly Jimenez and H. Patrick. Violation 7.1.1, storage of watercraft, recreational vehicles and trailers. On March 9, 2022, a boat was stored in the driveway, a repeat violation. We have compliance with fines paid, and an affidavit of compliance was filed on August 10th, 2023.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you just a second. Do I understand correctly on 21-0223, 21-0292, 210717, and 22-0290, they have all been complied, all fines are paid?
That's correct. He came into the office on the 10th and he paid all the fines after he received the notice to appear for this hearing.
That's one, and just list the numbers, and the only thing we do is you close the case. Correct?
For the record, I'll just read out the case numbers. EEN 21-0292, EEN 21-0717, EEN 22-0290. All cases are in compliance and we filed affidavits of compliance.
And 21-0223.
That's correct.
My motion would be that all fines are paid, they're in compliance, we close off those 4 cases.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Who seconded? No, I heard two, Judy and Dale. Who seconded? Yeah, exactly.
Pick one.
So Judy, Janie, and Judy.
Our next case, 7H 690 Northeast 121st Street, case number EEN 19-1565, Olivia Almagro. Violation 8.4, property maintenance. For this property, we had exterior walls, roof.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Well, at this point,
We have a,
Have it,
it's filed for her fine reduction.
absolutely.
Nothing we can do, am I correct?
Wait, but have you been in contact with her?
Yes, we just wanted to put it on the record that she is in partial compliance. House is painted. She still has an outstanding fine lien of over $10,000, $10,170,000. I did reach out to her. I emailed her and advised her to apply for reduction. She acknowledged the email, but she hasn't yet applied.
But if I remember this lady, this has been a long time in the progress, and she's always had a problem kind of being, timely, right? But she's doing it. I mean, she's getting there. I mean, we were kind of like said, look, this is your last shot, and we just painted. That's progress.
At this point, the only reason I would support starting the intent to lien action, because that's all it is that tends to get people off the
Yes.
sofa and getting them filling things out. We saw that with those cases that were just paid. Of course, she's gonna want to fill out a fine reduction form. I wouldn't blame her. It's what she should do.
Right.
But I have a feeling until she gets that intent to lien letter, it's not gonna happen, and this is just gonna hang in limbo.
This says partial compliance.
That means she paid it.
She corrected the violation, but she still has fines outstanding.
Okay.
Didn't we advise her to apply for a reduction in the last time? Yeah, but she never did though. Yeah, we did, but she never
But
did.
we also told her she had to paint, and she did. So, I mean, that was the bigger issue, right? Is the paint so she can get that clock stopped from ticking.
She knew very well about the fines, because if you remember, even made a point, please don't put a lien, and we explained what she'd have to do. Well,
And I reiterated in the email that I sent to her just a few days ago. She still owes over $10,000 and she should come in and apply for reduction.
From the history that I can read here, it seems like it's an economic matter more than anything else.
But to show up here to ask for a fine reduction is not an economic matter.
Obviously, but I'm just saying that
And,
that's
you
the
know-
base of her problem is the economics. Now her behavior is totally different.
economics notwithstanding, you have well, first of all, my theory tends to be, one way to avoid fines is to work with the code officers and come into compliance at an appropriate time. That avoids fines. But now we're past that. Come in, get to the podium, explain your side. We talk back and forth, things get worked out. But to not even come in, my motion would be to start the intent to lien process in hopes.
Right. I'll reach out to her again.
Okay.
Have action.
That's not before us.
Well,
It's just a progress.
Right, and I think that's what we were gonna do, because we gave her one shot. We gave her, and it was supposed to be in July, but we got the thing moved because we moved the meeting. But this is your last shot. We're not gonna, no more, and we all took, mercy on her story that she gave. And in the time since then, after her promise to paint, she painted. Obviously she did the hard part. Now she's got to come in here and do the next part, which is, gonna benefit her. But now the village has been benefited by virtue of the process. If she needs a gentle nudge, but I guess it's not before us, we can deal with that. But the progress report is obviously, good, because she did what she was supposed to do. Do we just table this until next meeting and then you reach out to her and then
Out to her again.
we can do the gentle nudge that Janie wants to do, if that's where we are?
well, then I will amend my motion that the property owner is to come to our September meeting with her fine reduction request. Or, wait a minute, the deadline, what time would she need to have the fine reduction request to you folks?
At least 10 days before the hearing.
Our meeting is, why do I not know that?
No. When's our next meeting?
I'm sorry, is it September 20?
The meeting is September 20.
So if she has the fine reduction to you by September 11? Okay. So my amended motion would be the property owner to turn in a fine reduction request to the code officers by September 11th, or the village is to start the intent to lien process.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Our next case, 8E 11211 Northeast 11th Place, case number CEN -23-89. Valerie I. Botaoli. Violation chapter 19.1.3, license required. 5-1-23, renting a property on a short-term basis without first obtaining a license from the Village of Biscayne Park.
Is she asking for?
A continuance until the next hearing at least. She lives in California. And she has 2 violations on this property. I issued a second violation, and then she has another property that's also short-term rental. So she has 3 violations, and I'll bring all 3 cases together September 20.
I would move for a continuance to September's meeting.
I second.
On favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. I mean, that's only fair.
Dory, what you just gave us were the other 2 properties? Or the other is that what is this you just gave? us?
That's the correspondence between myself and the,
I said short version.
Okay.
that concludes our agenda for tonight.
Thank you.
Cases.
You did the cases?
Right.
Okay, on to discussions.
November and December meeting dates.
Okay, November and December's meetings. Let's do the easy one. Is December 20th still okay with everybody? Because my theory always is, if we need to move, if you won't be here, let's see.
September 20th,
No,
December.
December 20th.
or December 20. All right, let me get to the city's calendar. So good, I'm good. Okay, December 20th.
I may have an issue for the next meeting in September.
September 20th.
Yeah, I may be in trial down in Key West, or I may be in trial in Miami-Dade County. So, if it's Miami-Dade County, it's more likely that I will be here, but if it's Key West, I
All right,
won't.
let's do with September 1st then. My theory is if it's possible to accommodate anybody who's going to be absent, I much prefer a full board. So if it's possible, let's do it. Oh boy, lots of little red dots in September. Michael, you in trial all week or?
I have 2 cases that are 3-week trials. One is in Key West and one is in Miami-Dade County. One is starting September 5th, one is starting September 11th. I can only be in one place at one time. So it's whatever judge gets me. So if it's the September 5th, that's the Miami case, and I'll be in town. And if the judges usually in downtown like to let you go at 5, then I can be at that meeting. But if it's September 11th in Key West, then I will be down in Key West. I have a calendar call on the Miami case on August 30th, and I have a calendar call in the Key West case on Tuesday, next
If your
Tuesday,
case in Key West starts the 11th, you would still be there that second week.
and the 3rd week.
Either way, he's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically the whole month.
Yeah.
We had it on the second.
And yeah, that really,
And then in October,
let's do 1 month. at a
Okay.
time. Yeah, that would be tough. And I really prefer always having a full board. I'd rather we move it. But with that many, it just doesn't really leave us much space because also that's the month with commission hearings. Commissioner, in September, you have 2 hearings, no? Plus a meeting. Yeah, so lots of little red dots already.
It also leaves the possibility that he'll be on in Miami court,
Yeah.
and as he stated,
It'd be
most-
okay.
will probably be able to attend, or may be able. to.
And even if, you know, if we have enough notice, we can always move the meeting, Michael, to 7 if it makes it easier for you. It's not a big.
Well, if I'm in Miami, it would definitely be preferable because I would get out of court at 5 o'clock and, you know, from downtown and I'd be here. and-
If we have enough notice, for us, that's gotta be part of what's mailed to the property owners. That's the only reason we need like a big lead time to let people know it's switched from 6:30 to 7. But if that would help and you let us know in enough time, that's certainly doable.
I'll know about the Miami on August 30th. And then I'll know on the Key West next week, but we're going to tell the Key West judge about the Miami judge. We've already told the Miami judge about the Key West judge and the Miami judge doesn't want to do anything about the Key West judge.
Be in Miami that week and you want the meeting to move, you want to ask these folks in Shantae because they would put out to pull us involved in.
Mhm.
And we'll work from.
So can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
Set
sir.
September meeting as it is.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Okay, now. Let's go to October. I think October was, anybody have a problem in October? Okay, I'm the one with the
When?
or my phone is not cooperating. October is, it's the 18th. And
In what, September?
September's the 20th, October is the 18th. Okay. I'm the one who's the problem in November. As are, we don't have a whole lot of dates in November. Because I'm thinking you wouldn't want it the first week, folks, because that's too close to the October.
Right.
I'm gone from the second till the.
Okay, so, and I'm gone from the 10th, returning home on the 20th. But the 21st has already got a red dot, so we're kind of.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes,
that
sir.
we, combine the November and December meetings and have an earlier December meeting, like within the first couple weeks if the schedule permits.
That would work for us.
Would that work?
That would be a big agenda.
I would think that is a great idea because everybody's got a lot going on. I would and that would give you guys time, am I right? Put a media agenda together. I mean, if we have 15, 18 items, that is fine. You know, we'll deal with it and we can do, if we were to do that though, would you guys have an issue if they really put us together a media agenda, which is possible for 2 months? Do you have a problem if we do that 6 o'clock start?
No, I don't have a problem. The reason I saw the 6 o'clock on the text, on the text I received, but I looked at the agenda and it said 6:30.
Yeah, I thought it was 6:30.
At least I thought I looked at the agenda. Well, then I looked at the wrong agenda.
I thought it was 6:30.
6 p.m.
Did you?
Preacher.
And it was-
Oh, okay. See,
Creatures of habit. How are we with that? I like the idea very much. Is everybody cool to
of
that?
doing what?
Of doing a combined November, December meeting in earlier December.
I'm okay with that, but I didn't tell you that I'm going to be in Italy from the 9th of October to the 24th of October. So I'm not going to be here for the 18th, just to let you know.
Okay, that's a little long. We probably won't be able to switch that one.
No,
Sorry. All right.
please proceed.
We're alone. The only thing we might do is, Michael, if it will help you out, to switch that to a 7, so you're not rushed to get here. And if you just let them know. October, we're leaving alone. November, we will not have a meeting. We will have a combined December, November meeting. And again, if you guys go to like 18 cases, we've tried as many as 18 cases before. We've done it.
What date in December?
Sorry, yes, now let's pick a December date, not for our next trip.
By the way, Felipe says hi to everybody. I had breakfast with him last week. For his husband.
December the 20th.
See?
Okay,
No, first.
Well, we were scheduled for December 20th, but we could move it earlier.
Earlier.
Let's move it earlier. That's if we can. If there isn't already a red dot. How about December 6th,
December sixth looks open.
then, because you have all of November. And then, how's December 6th, everybody?
Sounds okay. And
December 6th?
I'll look when
Judy?
Sounds okay, but I'll look.
Okay, folks, so we made another unanimous decision. No November meeting. The combined November, December meeting, and you know what? Let's bill it that way. So people don't think, that's a visual to me. If people see nothing in November, that's bad. If they see combined November, December, and it's that early, it's just a better optic.
Right.
And that will be the 6th we agreed on.
6 o'clock?
No, the December 6th meeting.
Right, but 6 o'clock?
We'll go back to 6:30. No, we'll go back to 6.
We can go at 6. I just, it doesn't matter. I just was mistaken and I did look at the
Michael, can
agenda.
you,
here.
other than your court issues, can you move to 6 or is that tough?
I would have been here at 6 today if I knew that, if I would have known. I was sitting at home, so I
What do you,
mean.
Rodolfo, are
Early.
you okay if we go?
I'm good.
I'm semi-retired. 6 is fine. I'm semi-retired, so 6 is fine for me. I only work half days, twice a week.
We'll move our meetings now till 6. Michael is gonna let you guys know though of September, if he's asking for stuff. Now that we've confused everybody. So December will be the 6th. Meetings moved to 6. So far, September and October stay the same.
Stay.
Okay. I think we've got that covered. Now, Doreen, you had fine reduction pay by.
Comment. Right, so we've had several cases where they came in for a fine reduction, their fines were reduced, but there was no comply by date. So I have a few cases sitting there where they were reduced to $100 and they haven't paid it. So I wanted to come back to the board and ask if they could put enforce a comply by date every time we have a fine reduction.
Fine reduction.
Yes,
You were told on regular fines, we can't do that. And we do in fine reductions.
I believe so from other cities where I've worked before.
Okay.
But why don't we ask Ed Dion?
What,
Confirm with Beyond. By date, and then there's a clause in there that says if they do not pay the reduced amount of so much by such and such.
It goes back to the original. Yep, I think that's great.
State, we've
Yep.
done that on the majority, it must have slipped a few times, but for what I remember, we tried to implement, if not paid by such and such a date, we'd get an agreement from the resident and, when they could do it, and we would do a pay by date. If not, it reverted back. So
The original.
were those, may I ask, Doreen, were those older ones? Or, yes, I remember, I've been doing this for a while. There was a time where we just reduced the fines. Yes, and then we tried to implement, it was a learning procedure, a pay by date.
If you remember, we did for 8/26 and 21st, we set deadlines, speaking of which, we pay the fine.
All of. Except for the media file, which ones it pays all the time.
Do we know the status? Because it's back,
So at this time.
I'm sorry, can you share with us?
Absolutely. The building official did, want to meet, just having a set of meeting dates. And so they can, talk about the way forward. He talked, the attorney talked about fixing the property.
Remember?
Right. The building official was like, that's almost impossible, but he will give him some more the benefit of the doubt and meet with him and discuss the way forward. So I can give an update if the meeting happens, I can bring the update to the.
Oh, that's great. Just kind of a
Well,
thing I want is, I'm sorry.
I was just.
It-
Pay attention this
Yeah,
way
if They were,
and direct the question that way.
um, Can I interrupt just kind of quick? What was the conclusion on the fine reduction pay by date? What's the consensus?
Aye,
Yes,
I'm in agreement. You're good.
absolutely.
Aye.
We've been doing
All
this-
in agreement. Pay buyer, it goes back to the original fine.
No need to check with the attorney on this.
By that date, it goes back to the original fine.
He's asking if you should check with the attorney. As one, I would always say to ask.
Because we wanted to back to that original fine if they don't pay by date.
Does anybody know what's going on with the bee house? They were, oh,
No, we were just expediting y'all's conversation, trying to discuss it over here.
Yeah, the building official was just explaining to her, is going to meet with the attorney, the new attorney. And then after that meeting, I'll report back to the board what their discussion was.
Finally, we send it.
Is that new guy that tried to come in?
Right, like he came, he paid the fines and everything, but I'm about to issue them with another violation though, because they have graffiti on the building and he promised that the building would be clean and all stuff. I was there last week and I saw graffiti, so I'm definitely issuing another violation.
Just a real, I'm sorry, Judy. Yes, sir.
I just can't believe it's been more than 20 years that that place has been in that kind of shape and they've done absolutely nothing. I moved here in 96. It's been boarded up.
Village combination of multiple commissions and multiple managers have not stepped up. This is finally everybody kind of working together, boards, the building official, the commission, the manager. This is the first change, but there's enough blame to go around. And it's just so easy to look the other way. So hopefully now this is the beginning of better. Just one or two quick little things. Normally, when we hear fine reductions, of course, it's significant amounts of money because it's daily fines that have accrued quite a bit. It's unusual for us to hear fine reduction requests of the, what I call initial fine or basic fine. And when we do, I think we have to remember our basic fine now is $250. And we've been assessing admin costs in some cases. So when we're dealing with these smaller fine reductions, please, let's kind of all remember that because that's got to factor into what we finally accept. And just one suggestion, you guys, when you're doing, whoever does the minutes, I noticed in the minutes that mentioned liens, the amount would be in there. My concern about putting the amount in there is it's going to change from the time those minutes
Right.
are published to the time it finalizes, so we probably should avoid, unless it's a flat amount,
Okay.
that's different, but if it's a moving amount,
Moving amount, absolutely, people do miss it.
anybody,
Well, yes, I'm going on what you're at, discussing about the fine reductions. I would just request that maybe itemize it separately, but what the fine is, original violation fine was, what the administrative costs were, and then
Good idea.
the daily fines that have accrued, because really that's what we're mitigating.
right,
We're not mitigating the original fine, we're mitigating failure to comply by fines. So I think that may help us.
And we shouldn't be mitigating the administrative because it's still costing us to administer those fines.
very good point, both of you, thank you.
Yeah, this is the most lenient village or city I've worked for. Because I see someone with a $12,000 lien asking for a reduction of $100 and it's granted. Special masters don't grant those amounts like that. It's too small. It doesn't even cover administrative
We
costs
had that
with
situation
inflation.
recently, and that doesn't even cover the cost.
When I read the law, I think it's also up to us as officers to say they are asking for 100, but it costs us so much to bring this case to the board and do inspections. We are suggesting $1,000. So
No, that's good. So you guys would have a counter to
Right.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
We haven't
Love
had
it.
that, right?
I think.
We love it.
Someone presents that, then provide the administrative costs that, and we can.
Facts.
And you know what? Maybe we'll surprise some people if they want to say we'll grant your dismissal of it, but you have administrative costs for bringing this before us. It's like if you go to traffic court.
Right.
There you go. Exactly.
That's a good point.
And, but we should let residents know before they even request it that, you know, if granted, there will still be administrative costs assessed.
That's a good point.
Well, there is a fee also for
That's
filling out the form.
filing.
There's a $50 application fee. Wish they could increase it.
Didn't we just increase something that you asked us to do? Didn't we just increase like something recently? Like the last meeting, didn't, the minimum fine or something like that?
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Our minimum fine is $250.
Right, and what was it before? Like $100 or something? or- Okay.
Now we have a solid set. It's this if it's first offense, it's this if it, and the big advantage, we are absolutely consistent. There is no
Right,
doubt. And something we should have been doing all along is daily, the same as the initial, because as was explained to me, it's the same offense. It didn't change. Yeah, took us a while, but, so,
and then you're saying like if you want to put something on, if we charge $50 to put something on the meeting, that's what you're saying? Right, for reduction, but but now you're gonna have to do, you're saying you wish that was more because you have to do work in order to prepare for that, right? I mean,
Search, we have to do property history research, and the files are not together in this department, so we have to go all over the place to look for it. So it takes a bit of
and
time.
you figure the longer something is out there, number of years, that's not much more follow-up.
Doreen does a lot of work.
Doing.
I drop in City Hall during the week and she's always got her nose into the file cabinets digging out stuff.
maybe we should look at, it's kind of like you file a lawsuit, you gotta pay like a filing fee. $50 is a pretty cheap filing fee if you,
Well, yes, but can't we go ahead and you present that? I mean, not present it to the commission, but as part of, they pay the application fee. That's just to apply. Bringing it aboard, everybody should know that there is an administrative cost for everything that we do. And what we've been lax in, and that's why I don't know how many, because I was late, how many we added administrative costs. And we missed on the, the rentals, the fact that we should have been adding the administrative cost of
Mm.
$250 that we did last meeting.
Standard, yeah.
And when I went ahead and
True.
made my motion, I was just trying to be in agreement to everything we did tonight. But moving forward, I think that we should be adding the administrative costs and maybe for the next couple meetings, just put a little suggestion up there.
We actually have been telling them.
Yes,
This case gets to the board, there's a $250 they're gonna add to your $1,000, just to encourage them to.
minimum.
The short-term rentals are a tremendous amount of labor intensive on their part.
Right, I'm not talking, but also with the fine reductions,
That
you
needs
should,
to-
and like I would like to see the original
Rate.
fine amount.
Mhm.
Those are all, should be to me, non-negotiables. That there's still going to be an outstanding fine.
Instead, what we see-
And there may be administrative costs. What you're asking for, if I understand, homeowner, is a reduction in your daily fine that accrued for not meeting, not coming into compliance timely. So there's still other things. You may want to go ahead and pay for this because that should be an issue before they even come before us, paying the fine. Because they haven't come into compliance because they didn't pay the fine. And then if they want to mitigate the daily fines, that's what they're asking for to me. So these might be things that we can remind us whenever we come in, maybe a little preface up top and, but yes, because I'm all for, because you work too hard and the village spends too much time.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because it's true, what we receive,
Very good.
everything is all folded into the same thing. And it's hard to know what their initial was in the first place. You're right. So we should have the basic fine, the admin costs, and the daily all separate. Anything else, folks?
We are done. We just
Good.
waiting for Raphael.
I'll make a motion.
Return.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor?
I,
Judy second?
I second.
Dale and Janie,
Thank you all.
Dylan? No, Dylan, Judy.
Telling me.
Janie.
Jane. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
I apologize once again for. I know what happened. I had my meeting, my agenda from last month. Where I had all my notes and I was reading over this and I just had it in mind, 6:30.
And it was in my calendar. Any of my secretary on vacation reminded me, texted me, said, you got a meeting at 6:30. I'm like, I got it. I got this one.
And I was at home. watching.
I was too. I got home early and.
I'm glad you all came.
Well, the shock I had when I pulled up and I saw y'all all sitting down here and it was obvious you were having a meeting. It's like, damn. Excuse my language, people.
I just want to turn that off.